I'm sorry. That's what Mom would be saying right now if she was here. I'm so sorry that I made all of you come to my funeral because I know how busy you are. Mom and I would laugh about it because she knew it would drive me crazy how she was always apologizing for things that she never had any control over. But it was because she never wanted to see anyone upset or see anyone hurt or be a burden to anyone in any way. She was so selfless that way and always cared about other people more than herself. I wish we could all be more like her. She was more beautiful on the inside than she was on the outside. And that's saying something. At 47 years old, there's still much I don't know. But one thing I do know is that my mother loved me because since I was a little boy, she wouldn't stop telling me that I was her heart and her soul. I wasn't smart enough or good enough to always appreciate what that meant. You see, a spouse's love is earned and given. So you make sure that you cherish it at all times. However, a mother's love is unconditional, and therefore sometimes it's taken for granted. I see that in my own family now, the way my wife fawns over our boys, and how sometimes our boys, just like I did, aren't grateful enough to know what they have. It's not malicious, you understand. There's nothing mean intended by it. It's just that a mother's love is unconditional. And it's all you've ever known since the time you formed your first memory. You see, a mother's love is constant, so it can sometimes be smothering. And what's the difference anyway if I push it away? Because after all, my mother's invincible and will always be here. Until one day you realize she won't. And all the things that you wish you would have done differently, you can't. And all the things you now wish you would have told her are the words that instead become her eulogy. She knew that I loved her and how special I thought she was, but I never really did articulate clearly why I thought she was so amazing. And I know that she had more friends than I could count, because if you met her, you instantly liked her. And if I asked all of you what made her so amazing, you would have your own list, your own story, your own memories. And you would want to share those today. But I was an only child, and we all know my mother spoiled me rotten, which means I'm used to getting my way. So today, you only get to hear my stories, my memories, and my list of why she was so amazing. I was lucky enough to have a loving mother that didn't take a job so that she could spend more time at the house with me. How lucky did that make her? Well, lucky enough for me to put her free time to work and volunteer for every project at school that needed a sponsor. PTA, I knew a lady that would be great at it. Cakes for the bake sale, I had a pastry chef at my house. Chaperone with a car big enough to bring a bus full of kids somewhere, I raised my hand because I had a mom that lived for that. Maybe she didn't, but if not, I never knew it. She at least acted like she loved it, and I know she loved spending the time with me. And I'm so lucky she did, because during that time I learned so much from her. I learned polite manners and etiquette were important, even if I didn't always use them the way I was taught. I learned how honey could produce better results than vinegar, even when sometimes it was harder to swallow the honey. I learned that you should always be as nice as possible until someone hurt your friends or your family. Then manners, etiquette, honey be damned. I saw Mom's mean streak a few times. It didn't come out often, but trust me, you didn't want to see it. She was sweeter than sugar until someone messed with me. Then I pitied the person she took aim on. I learned how to fit in with all types of people in any setting. How many people do you know that could just as easily rub elbows with the elites of high society as they could share a friendship with those far less fortunate. Mom was a rare breed that could do both. I learned how to laugh, and more importantly, how to laugh at myself and not take myself so seriously, because Mom never did. I learned why faith in God was important. Even when Dad didn't go to church, Mom made sure we were there every Sunday and made sure I was paying attention. She went by many names to many people, depending on how you knew her. She was Diane, Lady Di, Nana, Aunt Nan, Sis, or Mom. Because of the many animals she had, she was sometimes Falama Mama, or even the crazy cat lady. But to the animals themselves, she was simply caregiver, nourishment, savior. To her husband, Butch, she was wife. And he was kind enough to give me Mom's Bible after she passed away. In the cover, she had several pieces of paper that contained stories, scriptures, and quotes that were special to her. Many she had received or sent to her prayer partners. And oh, she loved her prayer partners. I remember driving her to cancer checkups in Houston, and her phone sounded like a disco song, with all the text message notifications going off from prayer partners sending words of encouragement and well wishes. Several of the clippings and printouts she kept in the Bible spoke to me as I looked through them, and they reminded me of her devotion to and her belief in God. Among them was a quote from Proverbs 22:6, which says, "Train up the child the way he should go, and when he's old, he won't depart from it." Mom is still speaking to me. Mom taught me so much and helped make me who I am today. In the late 90s, the oilfield service company I worked for relocated me from Lafayette to Houston, and within 2 weeks, laid me off, along with half the workforce, amidst a large decline in the price of oil. I spent my early formative years in Houston, but had moved before high school and had no business contacts. My father was in the oil business, but he had passed away at that time. I wasn't married yet, and now found myself unemployed and all alone in a brand new town. I picked up the phone. "Mom, what do I do?" Mom called a friend of hers from college who had done very well in business, told him about my predicament, and asked if there was anyone he knew that was hiring. "Sure," he said. "I'm an investor in a Houston-based company. Tell him to call this guy, and I'll have him give Chad a job." She hadn't talked to that man in years. It didn't matter. My resume? Not needed. Anything for Diane. People just loved her and always wanted to help her, because they all knew that she would do the exact same for them. Today I'm still with that company. It's been bought and sold and bought. The people have changed. Mom's friend sold his share of the company long ago. But I've been able to use the tenacity that she gave me and all the learning she provided to become relatively successful. She would always tell me how proud she was of me and brag to all of her friends about how much I had accomplished. But the truth is, without her, I never even would have had the chance. When I was growing up, Mom didn't care much for most of the girls that I dated. I think it was mostly a combination of not thinking they were good enough for her son and not wanting to see me get hurt, because protecting me was her first responsibility. But she loved my wife Annie so much. In fact, Annie was no longer mine. Mom would always refer to my wife as her Annie. "How is my Annie? Tell my Annie I love her." Mom called Annie the daughter that she never had. She knew Annie had a strong belief in God. She knew that she was innocent and sweet. And most importantly, she knew that Annie would never hurt her son. And you know she loved her grandchildren so much. Every call ended would hug my boys and tell them he loves them. Anyone that knows her already knows that. And I'm sure that you were long ago tired of hearing about us, because I know how she loved to talk about how she was so proud of everything that we did, regardless of how small it really was. She just loved us all so much and wanted everyone else to know about it. Another story that I found in Mom's Bible that she had been sending to people and clearly put there for me went like this. At birth, we boarded a train and met our parents. And we believe they will always travel at our side. However, at some station, our parents will step down from the train, leaving us on this journey alone. As time goes by, other people will board the train, and they will be significant, like our siblings, our friends, our children, and even the love of your life. Many will step down and leave a permanent vacuum. Others will go so unnoticed that we don't really realize they vacated their seats. This train ride will be full of joy and sorrow, fantasy, expectations, hellos, goodbyes, and farewells. Success consists of having a good relationship with all passengers, requiring that we give the best of ourselves. The mystery to everyone is we do not know at which station we ourselves will step down. So we must live in the best way, love, forgive, and offer the best of who we are. It is important to do this because when the time comes for us to step down and leave our seat empty, we should leave behind beautiful memories for those who will continue to travel the train of life. When I was finally able to see her in the hospital, I knew at that moment she wasn't coming home. My world crashed in an instant. I was helpless. In times like this, I would call Mom and ask what to do. That wasn't going to be an option anymore. Since she passed away, I keep finding myself wanting to pick up the phone and call her and tell her about this or that, or ask her about someone from her past that had reached out. I guess I will have that thought for a while, because her being gone still isn't real to me. Mom beat cancer and everything else that stood in her way. She was supposed to be invincible. For as long as I have been on the earth, so has Mom. She was my constant. I have cried more over the last few days than ever in my life. I have never known sadness like this before. But as I thought about how to eulogize her and convey how much we all loved her, things became clearer. And I realized that Mom was still teaching me. As I sat there listing all the best parts of me that were because of her, I understood that Mom will never really be gone, because those teachings are a reflection of her that will always live on in me. And she lives on in all of you that she touched in some way. I will miss not being able to make new memories with her, but I have the old ones to rely on, and I have everything that I learned from her. Most importantly, I finally understand what she meant when she said, "You are my heart and my soul." Because her heart will always be a part of me. Her soul will continue to guide me in life. If she were here today, she would tell me how proud that makes her, how much she loves me, and how she was so sorry that all of you had to spend time coming.